Guess how many publishers fought each other to publish this book? Not 2, not 4, not 8, not 10, but 11. 11 publishers auctioned against each other for the right of this book. Hello everyone, welcome to Harry's Book Cafe. Today let's talk about Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. Yesteryear follows Natalie Mills, a Tradwife influencer who has built an empire of millions of Instagram followers by presenting an idealized vision of traditional domesticity from her Idaho ranch. Behind the scene, this perfect life is a facade maintained by nannies, producer, and modern conveniences. The central conflict ignites when Natalie wakes up in a gritty, unglamorous version of her life in the 1800s, forcing her to confront the brutal reality of the lifestyle she has been cosplaying for profit. Natalie Mills is a standout example of an unlikable protagonist. She is portrayed as bitchy, narcissistic, and uncaring, and yet she is also strangely relatable and wickedly entertaining. She is not a simple villain, but a product of her environment, a sharp girl from a conservative community who chose a path that seems to reject her own intelligence. Burke has stated she wanted the character who doesn't really grow, because growth requires an authentic self, and Natalie isn't one. Natalie Mills has built her entire life, her fortune, her identity on performance. Her inner monologue is narrating her farm like the way she captions an Instagram post. She doesn't just wear a mask, she is the mask. To grow, one needs a stable, authentic core to grow from. One needs to recognize a flaw, feel genuine remorse, and make a different choice. In Natalie's reality, she has no core. Her personality is focus group algorithm. When she is thrown into the brutal 1800s, she doesn't undergo a moral awakening. She applies the same skill she used to build followers, manipulation, performance, sheer ruthless ambition to survive the new environment. This satirical function is to deny audience the catharsis. We are trained by media to expect comeuppance. We want to see the narcissist humbled, the bully cry, the fraud exposed. Yesteryear deliberately withhold that satisfying emotional release. There's the complicated empathy. Burke forces reader into an uncomfortable position. We are inside Natalie's head. We hear her fear, her exhaustion, even her wit. We find ourselves rooting for her survival in the 1800s, forgetting for a moment that she is a terrible mother who exploited her children. Then there's the uncomfortable mirror. When we empathize with Natalie, we are forced to examine why we are so drawn to her curated contents in the first place. Burke wants us to feel the pull of the Tradwife aesthetics, the desire for a simple and more beautiful life, while simultaneously seeing the ugly machinery required to produce it. If Natalie changed and became a good person, we could all breath a sign of relief and say, see, people can change. But by keeping her static, Burke denies us that comfort. She leaves us holding the bag of our own complicated feeling about ambition, motherhood, and performance. Natalie belongs to a specific literary tradition, characters who are defined by their refusal to evolve, the static protagonist, if you like. It's a technique often used in satire and social realism. For example, Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, at the end of the novel, he is still a murderous, crazy consumer. And the narrator in My Year of Relaxation, the novel started where it ends. She falls asleep. Natalie Mills' fit here, she is a cautionary tale, if you like, of arrested development. Her growth is stunned by the very performance that made her rich. She can't change because the algorithm doesn't want her to change. It wants more of the same content. Burke is showing us a character who is trapped in amber, an amber that is the internet. Yesteryear used several high-concept promises to skewer several contemporary phenomena. The first is the performance of femininity and authenticity. The book is a direct critique of social media's capacity to turn life into a curated spectacle and the blurring lines between authenticity and performance. Burke examines the maddening contradictions of modern womanhood, particularly the false binary between being a girl boss and a Tradwife. Burke argued that these two choices are presented to women as the only viable, valid identity. You are either a corporate warrior in heels or a serene mother in apron. The other is political and culture satire. The novel mocks both mega and online culture. It explores themes of modern misogyny and internet hypocrisy. Burke argues that the Tradwife movement is a form of modern misogyny dressed up as nostalgia, and ideology that defines a woman's worth solely by her submission to a husband and her production of children. The last promise of this book is economic and social critique. Burke connects the allure of Tradwife lifestyle to systemic failure. She suggests women are drawn to this content because of the childcare crisis, the wage gap, arguing that we failed to produce not just solutions but also the language to talk about it. The book believes that neither the Tradwife nor the Girlboss fantasy is a real solution to the pressure of modern life. Neither fantasy is a policy solution. The Tradwife solution, escaping to the past, the novel shows that the real 1800s is not a romantic sourdough baking session. It's a world without antibiotics, electricity, or women's property rights. The Tradwife lifestyle in the 21st century is only peaceful because it is subsidized by modern technology and modern feminism. Natalie can feel herself baking a pie because she has a refrigerator and an iPhone. She has that iPhone because previous generations of girl bosses fought for her right to earn her own money. The novel argues that nostalgia for the past is a dangerous, sanitized lie that ignores the very real oppression women escaped it. And then on the other side of the extreme, the girl boss solution, the novel implies that this is just as much a fantasy. The idea that Natalie, if leaned in harder, she would fulfill her career, ignores the fact that the structure of work itself is a failure. The girl boss ideal doesn't fix childcare crisis. It just tells you to outsource it. It doesn't fix loneliness. It just puts it on Microsoft Teams. Parts of the novel also focus on Natalie not only as a Tradwife or a CEO of her own brand, but also on her as a mother. And this part is very interesting. The Tradwife lifestyle, as Natalie practiced, isn't just an aesthetic or a political statement. It's a full-time job as a CEO of a brand. And her children are both employees and the product. This creates a specific, devastating kind of maternal failure. not defined by cruelty, but by a profound emotional absence. This book reminds me of Shari Franke's, I think, memoir of The House of My Mother. I will make a book review of that book in the following weeks. So if you want to watch that video, please subscribe this channel. A quick word on the novel style. The novel is told through due timeline, moving between Natalie's life as an influencer and her struggle in the 18th century. So the two timeline is a parallel and is being told almost simultaneously. I do prefer the present one slightly more than the 1800. The prose is tight and beautifully written. Even though Natalie is an unlikable character to many people, she is weirdly hilarious at times. And there are, especially in the first chapter, a few paragraphs that just made me laugh out loud. Overall, this is a fantastic book, and I can absolutely see reasons why so many publishers are fighting for the right of this book. I truly believe that this will be one of the best books of 2026, if not the best book of 2026. And it's very, very hard to believe that this is Burke's first novel, her debut novel. It's just inconceivable, but what a talent. I hope that I will have the pleasure to read a lot more books from this author. That is the end of this review. If you like the review, please give it a thumb up, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel, and I will bring you quality content just like this one to wherever you are in the world. Until next time, guys, cheerio.